Ludicrous Feed is proudly sponsored by Carloop, Evee and Warbox.
Hey everyone, it's Tom here from Ludicrous Feed. Thank you so much for joining us. Next to me is the GWM Ora Extended Range in Glacial Blue. This car retails for $45,990, which is $6,000 more than the standard range, which is $39,990 in Australia. This extended range has a front-wheel drive powertrain, 126 kilowatts of power and 250 Newton meters of torque. It has a battery of 63 kilowatt hours NMC with a usable range of 59.3 kilowatt hours, 420 kilometers WLTP range, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 8 seconds, charging of 11 kilowatts AC and 67 kilowatts DC. Let's take a little walk around the car. So it's got a front-wheel drive powertrain, a charge port on the front left corner. It has a 7-year vehicle warranty, 8-year traction battery warranty as well. It's essentially the same car as the standard range vehicle. So all the inclusions you get with the standard range comes in the extended range as well. The only main difference, of course, is the battery size. As I said, 63 kilowatt hours in NMC battery. So if you want a full review of the standard range vehicle, check out my previous video, which I've already gone through the standard range car. The one concern I did highlight about the Ora previously was the size of the boot, but we've actually just gone shopping, and as you can see, we can actually fit shopping for an entire family of 4 for 1 week in the boot there, so it's actually fairly roomy. And in this video today, we are going to test out the auto steer cruise control function and give my thoughts comparing it to 2 other vehicles in this price range, the MG4, which I've just driven last week, so I've got that fresh in my mind, and also the BYD Dolphin Dynamic as well, which I haven't driven yet, but I will, and we'll compare it on paper anyway. So there it is, the GWM Ora Extended Range in Glacial Blue. Okay, so let's open the front door, and as I said, the interior, apart from the color, is essentially the same as the standard range. All the inclusions are in there, all the safety features are still in there. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, wireless, and yeah, it's a very nice interior indeed. So I'll talk about that in my wrap up at the end of this video, comparing it to the MG4 particularly. Let's have a look at the second row. There it is there. Again, roomy enough to fit 2 to 3 passengers as well. Okay, so the first thing I want to discuss in our drive today is whether it's worth paying an extra $6,000 for the extended range over the standard range. And as I've said before earlier, you basically get the exact same car in terms of entertainment, safety, technology between the standard range and the extended range. So, and all the safety features too. So essentially what you're paying for the extra $6,000 is a bigger battery between 48 kilowatt hours and 63 kilowatt hours, getting you approximately 110 kilometers extra of WLTP range. Of course, that's subject to real world driving conditions. The compromise is that the standard range vehicle has an LFP battery versus the extended range battery, which is NMC. Those of you who watch my channel regularly will know that I'm a big fan of LFP batteries for the fact that they have a better safety profile, a more stable voltage at higher state of charge, and they have a better battery longevity as well. And the added bonus of being able to charge to 100% on a daily basis for the standard range versus NMC, if you want to protect the battery, I would only charge to 80% daily. And also, there's no cobalt as well in the LFP battery. So really, you've got to ask yourself, is it worth paying the extra $6,000 for the extra range, which you may never use? Because let's face it, this is not really going to be a road trip vehicle. I mean, particularly because this charging range, the charging speed is only 67 kilowatts, and that doesn't improve with the extended range. So, you know, with a bigger battery, you're actually going to be taking longer to charge the car with the same charging rate. And to be honest, I personally probably wouldn't take this for a road trip too often. So I think the standard range is actually a better buy for those reasons I've mentioned. So yeah, you've got to ask yourself that question between the 2 vehicles. Even the paint choices and the color choices, both interior and exterior, are the same. It's going to be the same regardless of what you whether it's standard or extended range. $595 for different paints. All right, so that's the difference between standard and extended range. Let's talk a bit now about the difference between the Ora and another vehicle in this price range, such as the BYD Dolphin or even the MG4. Now, the three vehicles are all under $40,000. This is probably the most expensive of the three, at $39,990 MSRP, versus the BYD Dolphin, which is $38,890, and the MG4 base variant, which is $38,990. So let's start first with the MG4 base variant, which is the Excite 51 kilowatt hour, versus GWM Ora in standard range. So between the two cars, sure, it's got a slightly smaller battery, but you actually get more inclusions inside the vehicle. So I think it's a better finish on the inside. Materials look better, better contrast, better detail, better finish, softer materials, and better safety features as well. You get the 360-degree camera, blind spot monitoring, rear traffic alert. And if you're really into it, it's probably got a better range of colors as well as interior colors too. The only difference, or the only benefit the MG4 has over the GWM Ora would be it's got a rear-wheel drive powertrain, so arguably a better driving experience compared to a front-wheel drive for this vehicle. Both vehicles, or both manufacturers, offer updates from the dealer as well. This has probably got a better servicing schedule too, so $99 fixed price for the next 5 years, versus MG, which is a bit more expensive in terms of their service schedule. Both offer a decent warranty too. Between this car and the BYD Dolphin, at the base variant for both vehicles, I think again this car probably does represent slightly better value too, because it's got a better powertrain, even though it's still front-wheel drive. They're offering in this car 126 kilowatts, 250 newton meters of torque, whereas the BYD Dolphin is actually only 70 kilowatts at the dynamic variant. So 0 to 100 in 12 seconds for that vehicle. This is 8 seconds for this vehicle. So I think between this car and that car, again, looks are subjective. Between this car and the BYD Dolphin, you might say this is probably more unique, looks more like a Mini, versus the BYD Dolphin probably has a friendlier face. Arguably some might say it's a bit more bland compared to this kind of look in the GWM Ora. Both offer good colors as well, both interior and exterior, so it's very subjective, of course. Looks, personally, I'm probably not brave enough, or do I necessarily want the attention driving a vehicle like this, particularly in this color, glacial blue. But that's just me personally. You may be the type of person who wants to drive a vehicle that looks like this, and that is completely fine. I should talk too about the efficiency of this vehicle. So if you are to believe what the car is telling you, 14.7 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So with a 63 kilowatt hour battery, usable of 59.3 kilowatt hours, then you should be able to get pretty close to 400 kilometers of mixed use driving. So that's not bad. That's pretty accurate to the 420 kilometers WLTP range, which is what the manufacturer tells you. It's quite good. And one more thing to note too is that the Apple CarPlay, you can do this. You can sort of move ways like that, which is pretty good. You couldn't do that in the MG4, by the way, and couldn't do that in the BYD interface as well. So that's just something to note. I don't know whether there are different sort of versions of Apple CarPlay and ways that allow you to move the map rather than having to use the arrows. So it's just something to note. Okay, so a little bit of fun now. We're just on one of Sydney's busiest roads, Warringah Freeway, or whatever you want to call this road that leads up to the Sydney Harbour Bridge at 9:15 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, so it's about as busy as it gets here in Sydney. Let's see how well this handles. And then if we find any stretch of road that's not busy, we'll try and engage some autopilot or auto steer with adaptive cruise control for you guys. Just for a bit of fun, hey, why not? Ooh, how does it accelerate? Not too bad. I've got to say, there's a little bit of slippage when it's wet. It's running on Gitti tyres. It's a Singaporean tyre brand, pretty well known in Asia. Okay, so we've got a bit of room now, so let's just engage adaptive cruise control. There we go. Double tap this little stalk down here, below the indicator stalk, which is on the left-hand side, by the way. And then roll up to the speed limit, 60. With the acceleration, even in the dry, it does slip as well. So I just wonder whether there's a bit of a mismatch between the amount of torque versus the tyres that it's running on. How well does it follow this lane? Not too bad, given that there's a bit of road work and different all sorts of markings on the road versus the actual true line markings. Okay, so I need to exit this lane, accelerate a little bit. Yep, that wasn't too bad, getting me out of trouble. A lot of the safety chimes come on a lot, I must say. It's very sensitive. I've even turned all the settings down, like the lane departure settings, the emergency collision sort of settings. I always leave it to very late with these things, but it still chimes a lot. And even if you're in like a lane that's turning right, but in the left lane turning right and vice versa, it still warns you that you've got a car next to you. So that blind spot monitoring is probably too sensitive, even if you're trying to turn rather than merging. Something to note as well. So yes, a lot of construction on this road at the moment as they're widening the freeway. Always a good test of your nerves driving around here, especially in a car this small. Knocks all the big trucks and buses and other big cars. Let's see how well the adaptive cruise control works in traffic jam. So you can adjust how closely you want to follow the car ahead. So again, I always get a bit mixed up how close. I think that means further away, I think. So we'll go this way for closer. It's just me, I think. I just get mixed up which way is what. It'd be nice to have like arrows like they have on the Tesla, you know. Arrow how far you are, or the car actually moves further away from you. That's clear to me, whereas I don't know what it means when you've got green bars and different coloured bars between you and the car ahead. So this is one benefit of this adaptive cruise control in traffic jams. And my foot is off the accelerator and the brake, so it's just sort of following the leading car, or even allowing this truck ahead of me, or this ute, to merge. It's not the most responsive when it comes to taking off again, so I've had to help it along with my foot. Don't want to annoy the cars too much. Okay, so here we go. We are finally moving. Oh, you know what? That's why I've got... Oh, sorry, I turned it off. It's gone back to 30 kilometers an hour. That's why it's slow. All right, so let's move it to 70, which is the speed limit. And we'll see how this progresses. Lateral control exited. Okay. Oh, okay. Now we're back on auto steer. So yeah, it's not doing too bad actually. On the bridge, on adaptive cruise control, I've got my hands on the wheel, of course, just to be super sure. Occasionally the auto steer just disappears without too much warning. So always got to be a bit alert. Okay, we've got a bit of traffic flow, that's good. There you go. And then now we're just going to go on to the Western distributor. So we'll stay in this lane for now. Well, might sign off, everyone. That's it from me, reviewing the GWM Ora, or Great Wall Motors Ora Extended Range today. Thank you very much to GWM for allowing me to review this car over the last few days. It's been very much an enjoyable ride, albeit a little bit self-conscious for me driving this colour around. That's not my usual colour, but no, nonetheless, it's been interesting watching all the reactions of other commuters and pedestrians walking by and driving by and eyeing this vehicle out. Again, on paper, I think it's pretty good value against MG4 and also the BYD Dolphin. A lot of inclusions, good colours for those who want that sort of thing. Good power, reasonable range and efficiency, and the base model, the standard range, is actually pretty good value. So make sure you give this some consideration. Of course, looks are subjective, but if this is the kind of look of vehicle you want, then give this a lot of consideration, because it's actually pretty good value compared to the others in the same price range. And also, again, have a really good think about whether you actually need the extended range for the extra $6,000, given the compromises that I've just went through earlier in this video. So thanks everyone, thanks for watching. This is Tom from Ludicrous Feed. Stay tuned, we will be taking a loan of the MG4 Essence, which is the next trim. This is where I'm actually going to exchange this car for that one. And hopefully we'll get a loan of the BYD Dolphin as well later on. That'll be good to compare those other two vehicles as well in this price range. Take care, stay safe, and until the next Ludicrous Feed video, happy charging.